Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through the Carlton versus Collingwood game, in which what a thriller it was, and the man, the myth, and what's always probably going to be a legend in history, Nick Dacos, came up with the goods, with the goal with minute left, something around that marker, and yeah, he ended up with a 122 fantasy score and a 150 Supercoach score. But it was Nick Newman who scored the highest in the end, a 144 from him. So sadly, he's going to be the title of the video, even though Nick Dacos came in clutch. So that Nick Dacos will probably be the Twitter the Twitter post about for this game. But what a game it was in general. This game, I thought Carlton were going to run away with it. And then Collingwood decided they were actually going to play. And then it became an absolute classic. And then we thought with about a minute left that it was going to be a draw. And then Nick Dacos stepped up and won them the game. So anyway, before we get into this video, remember to like and subscribe. Turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload. And let's get into the video. So I'm going to be flicking between DT Live and also Fan Footy. Let me just get up this DT Live page for this game. And you see here, Nick Newman, 144. He was pretty active throughout the game, a 38, 36, 27, 43. So yeah, pretty consistently in the game. Akers had one of the worst games I've ever seen. He had a 121, but it involved 10 clangers. And he did end up with a 95 Supercoach score off 32 touches, 7 marks, 6 tackles. So he was pretty active there, I guess. 2 free kicks against and a behind. So yeah, 10 clangers for him, but he was pretty good in the first. Scoring wise, he was really good, but efficiency wise, he was horrific. Sam Walsh as well, you see, all right, even though the last quarter you see here, he did have his best scoring quarter. But if you actually look at it Supercoach wise, it was one of the worst. One, because the Magpies actually came in clutch and he did nothing in the last all his disposals from here on out, I think, were ineffective, including a couple of clangers in the last minute. That didn't help, and he did have a free kick against added to him. So yeah, he went down from, I think at one point he was like a 105, 106 Supercoach score, and then at full time he was a 91. So I think he actually started the quarter on a 90 Supercoach score and then only got 1 point in this last quarter due to scaling as well as everything. So yeah, he really took a nosedive in the last. Harry Mackay did nothing in the last, basically. So he ended up with a 96, and I'm pretty sure his Supercoach score suffered because of that. Yeah, he really did nothing. Hewitt, 94, Chera, 89, De Koning, Pitnet, Hollands, Cripps had a really good start and then did nothing for the rest of the game. Boyd, I thought, was actually all right, especially later on in the game. Maybe it was just that I saw him from this point onwards when he had 33 points in the last quarter and 5 minutes. Always Young, and then Williams yet again subbed out. This is a real concern for those people that have him, and or if you do have him. But also, this is just leading back on that point. A couple of weeks ago, I said I am trading out Zach Williams because there's too much of an injury risk, and he's done it twice now. I know he did score a 92, but he scored a 92, 33, and a 54. So that's what. 125, like an average of about 58 or something across the 3 games, and he scored a really top end score to score that. So he's been lucky to average 56 with 2 sub outs, and he looked really good. That's the problem. He looked really good, and then he's just done something, and it looks like it looks like hamstring tightness, so he'll be fine. But it's just every single week it's like he can't even get through the game. It's really weird at the moment. So, yeah, I'd be jumping off Zach Williams quickly, as not only is he going to drop, 21 different, that's probably going to be 15K or so. His break-even's now going to go up to, I suspect, a 90 or so, given that 33 and now a 54, I think it's a 33, and a 54 are going to be in his system. Curnow, Cowan, Wiedering, Cunningham, Chincotta, Cottrell, Durden, Fantasia, and then Kennedy as the sub. That really ruined that option for those people wondering about the midfield. You cannot go for a guy that's supposed to be the primo, and yet he's a sub option each and every week in Matthew Kennedy. So I would be sticking clear of him. And just looking about these guys on this, you can just see here no one really had too big of a game here. George Stewart, 30 touches for a 94. And then we move over to Collingwood. Nick Dacos, 122 and a 150 Supercoach. Obviously bumped up massively because of the last quarter. But if you look at his last quarter in general, a 44 here. Absolutely huge from him. And yeah, that's the reason why he ended up going really well. Just a huge quarter in the end. Pretty efficient by him in the end to go 78 efficiency, whereas Sam Walsh did drop back down to a 60. Sam Walsh started out, I think, the first half at around 70%, so he dropped down, and that's why. Nick Dacos did have the 6 clangers, but that's what you're going to get when you have so much of the ball, especially contested possessions. 15 contested possessions only. Crisp had more in the game. 7 clearances as well. He just... Yes, the contested possessions might not be what you expect out of a contested possession, but they're still classified as a contested possession. And he does it one of the best in the business at the moment. And I think he's truly back. If he's doing this against Carlton, what's he going to do when they have... who do they have next week? Isn't it like West Coast next week? If you don't have Nick Dacos in both formats, you are absolutely up struggle street now. Given that he's got his next run of games is West Coast, Adelaide, Fremantle, Western Bulldogs, Melbourne, North Melbourne. West Coast, they're doing all right, but their form could easily slump. Adelaide Crows, they're doing all right, but they just beat a Port Adelaide side that can't defend transition. Fremantle look iffy at the moment. They sort of hit and miss. Then you have Western Bulldogs, the biggest hit or miss in the competition. Then you got Melbourne and North Melbourne. Melbourne looked pretty good, and then North Melbourne, that's a free win, so he will towel up them. So yeah, if you cannot get Nick Dacos before the bye, you are really struggling. Scott Pendlebury, 99-106 split. Chris, 93-106 split. These two just put up 22 and 23 disposals between them, and then a lot of tackles as well. Collingwood smashed the tackle count, I think by about 30 or so, which was probably the real difference in the game. It's just that they were able to exert more pressure. Darcy Cameron, I thought he actually had a lot better game than the stats actually implied. I thought he took a couple of insteps. Maybe just his ball use was the reason why that it was a negative DT to Supercoach split. Then you've also got Lipinski. He did nothing in the last quarter, but outside of that, I think he had a really good game. I think it was only like 3 touches in the last quarter for him. Josh Dacos had a pretty good game as a winger. John Noble had a pretty good game as well, using it at 90% there. Howe, Elliott, Maynard, Markov, Sullivan as well, another rookie potential downgrade option in a couple of weeks if he holds his spot. I thought he actually came on and did pretty well. Kicked a goal with his first touch, and I think he just gets a lot of score involvements, which for the Collingwood side can really help sort of play that Jake Rogers role that we see, the Graham Myers role that we see, just that sort of yes, he will play a little bit on ball, but also can play as that half forward, that link up. 57-75, he did really well, and potential rookie on the bubble in a couple of weeks. Cox, Sidebottom, Schultz, with Will Hoskin, Elliott, Moore. Where else is the other guy? Harvey Harrison as well. Oh yeah, no, I have it I have a DT split and not Supercoach split. But you'll see Schultz, Hoskin, Elliott, Moore, Myercheck, Harvey Harrison, a 44-83 split. I didn't even know you could get that high. I don't know what he necessarily did to get that high. Maybe it was a goal in a crucial moment or something. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out what he did to necessarily get that high. Let me just see if I can find the stat that the reason why he did that. Maybe it was something off the non-stat related that caused that or something. Do we have like goal assists here, pressure acts, etc.? Goal assists here. Let me see. Goal assists, advanced goal assists. Harvey Harrison, 3 goal assists. That's probably what's going to do it in terms of the reason why he did really well. Score involvements as well. Let's check that. Score involvements, O'Sullivan with 8. That's the reason why he's so high. And then Harvey Harrison had only 5 score involvements, 3 led to goals. So I know that makes no difference, but still 5 score involvements would help him out here. And that's the reason why he got an 83, and that's the reason why he's probably going to be the number 1 trade in this week on the bubble. If he holds his place, which he probably should. McCreary out with a concussion, and that's the reason why I think both of these guys will hold this week, and then we'll see if O'Sullivan holds next week, the week after, even though you do have potentially Mitchell and Degoe returning, even though Degoe I think is probably the more doubtful one, given his injury. And then you got Hill, Quaynor, and Frampton. I thought actually had a pretty decent last quarter, even though it's probably not going to show it. Yeah, you can see here. But I thought he was able to stop. Who was he on? Was he on Mackay in the last? He was on one of them, I swear. And yeah, he got a good kick, a good stop in the last quarter when I think it was all tied up at one point. So yeah, his stats don't show the sort of impact that he can have on some games, and I thought he had an all right game, even though he's probably on Mackay from memory, and Mackay did kick 4. But yeah, that pretty much is the video there, just going through how basically Nick Dacos dominated. Sam Walsh has the VC in Supercoach, had a stinker, so we're relying on Max Gawn to have an absolute game against Geelong, as that'll be good for both the VC in fantasy and the Supercoach C. So yeah, we're relying on Max Gawn, but hopefully he can. And I just want to check the AFL lineups again, as I didn't check the Geelong ruck, but I did hear that Toby Conway was being managed on both sides. They've got Stanley, and also, do they have anyone else? They've got Blicavs on the wings, so they've got the double ruck against Gawn. Oh well, hopefully he can do well. But anyway, that pretty much is the video, and I'll see you guys in the next recap, which will be the Sydney Derby tomorrow, alongside the other games in St Kilda, North Melbourne, and probably Melbourne Geelong will get that game as well out to you guys. So I'll see you guys in those recaps tomorrow. Bye guys.